ABC Notebook, The Children of Ellis Island.
America is a community of pioneers. Throughout our history, immigrants came here to escape persecution and oppression in search of religious freedom, economic opportunity, and political asylum. They came for a better life for themselves and their families. Hello, I'm Lynn Scher for ABC Notebook. All four of my grandparents and both my husband's parents came to America from Eastern Europe at the turn of the century. Today we're going to meet three families who came here through Ellis Island, point of entry for an estimated 12 million European immigrants between 1892 and 1954. In fact, about 40% of us here in the United States have family members who passed through this New York landmark. There were some 70 other receiving stations, but Ellis Island was special because it was so big and because it was so close to the Statue of Liberty. Our ancestors could see that statue off in the distance as a symbol of hope and freedom. The immigration procedures were bewildering to many of the new arrivals. Some spoke no English. They had to undergo a series of legal tests and medical examinations. Most passed. Some were detained, and sadly, 2% were turned away. But those who came ashore in New York were now free people. They brought a very special legacy to our country, and it lives on in their families. Who are the children of Ellis Island? Our third immigrant family overcame extraordinary obstacles to make their home in Anacortes, Washington. They came in search of political asylum and a safe harbor.
We come from a long line of sea people. We are sea people. My father has a love for the sea. His love for the sea comes from generations and generations and generations of sea people. It's a way of life. My dad and the sea are one.
George Franulovich, no stranger to long sea voyages, spent his working life as a commercial fisherman. He and his wife Maria left Croatia in 1944 to make their way to the United States. It would be a 6-year odyssey through 4 countries before they found a home. They were detained in Italian refugee camps more than 3 years. They lost an infant son to smallpox, but were able to raise 3 daughters. En route to New York, Maria contracted malaria and typhoid fever. At Ellis Island, she was quarantined for 3 months, leaving her daughters in the care of an aunt and her husband confined to the men's dormitory. Ultimately rejected by the authorities, the Franulovich family spent 2 years in South America, hoping to return to the United States. Finally, in 1949, they were admitted. Today, they remember that event with great clarity.
It was a balmy spring evening, and it was just at dusk, and we were in our staterooms. And
everybody got dressed.
Everybody was all dressed up. And Mother said, Enoye.
There she is.
There she is.
There she is.
There she is.
Again.
And we all
there
rushed.
she is again.
Yeah, Enoye opened. Yes, and there she is. And we all rushed to the window, and we saw that great silhouette with that arm upraised. And we all hugged each other and kissed each other and jumped up and down and cried and laughed at the same time. And we looked at her and we said, we'll never leave her again.
It was called Desperate Person, No Country, No Home. And now I say we got a country, and God willing, we're going to have a home too.
My
So
mother
that's what it
is probably the person in my life that I admire the most, because her tremendous strength through all the chaos and all the hell we had all been through as a family. She had this strength, and no matter where we were, she would find creativity, whether it was embroidering, for instance, the sheets at Ellis Island. She always had some beautiful thing, piece of lace, wildflowers. She always was able, in the midst of disaster, create a thing of beauty.
What I remember about my father and mother is a great sense of strength and pride and dignity. This strength has come down to all of us, and I think I'll remember that and give that to people, that driving force to live.
I think one of the greatest fears that any of us had during all this
Time.
was losing our parents. It was their love that sustained us through all this, all the degradation and the starvation, and the loneliness and the fear.
Gentleman from immigration brought this little identification cards to us. And he said, nah, this is your identification card, and now you're free in United States like everybody else. And that was happiest day in my life. And I said, thank God that I came here where I'm gonna live and I'm gonna die and where I'm never gonna leave this country again. To go no place.
America means to me plenty. I more appreciate this country, not my country, because this country saved my life, my kids. I make a good living. I educating my kids. That's why I don't know what I say, how much I appreciate this country.
My dad is a neat guy, and he always was. He taught me to dance. The dance ensemble and our performing really didn't start as a performing group. We would work around a table together, and to pass the time, we would sing. We would sing and we'd sing, and of course, not just my mother, my father, and my grandmother's songs. Our basement was a kind of an unfinished room. They had a big fireplace and a wood-burning stove, and we would gather there to work and to sing. It's almost like what you'd call an American family room, very large, open space. Everybody would gather. That was a gathering place.
They would all sit down in the basement and just talk and talk and talk and sing songs. And if it was a song my grandma hadn't sung in a long time, she would start crying.
Everything this family does, it does it to the extreme. Like with the dancing, I'm sure not too many kids can say that. A lot of them can say, yeah, I played Little League football, but how many of them can say, you know, I danced the dances of my forefathers.
That bond is so important to pass on tradition and culture and music and love.
The thing I remember most about America and how it was when we came here was it real? Was it going to last? And I would hear my mother and dad speaking at night. Is this going to last?
After 37 years in America, the sisters revisited Ellis Island to remember. Although they found a busy construction site, their childhood memories were vivid nonetheless.
Ellis Island was a crossroads to a new beginning or a rejection. And we were rejected. And so it is fear and hope. Hoping that we would come to America, but fear that we would be sent away. And we were sent away.
And if there's anything that I want my children to, anything that I want them to appreciate, is the freedom, the real freedom, and their responsibility to that freedom.
This is it. This has been an extraordinary day with so many memories, touching the hallways and the tile and walking down those long corridors and seeing the great tall windows made it friendly again.
I remember looking at the windows and the bars and all that only from one side, but to be able to see them from both sides, that was okay.
I really feel American for the first time in my life. I felt American, but I know I'm American now. Guaranteed.
Ellis Island closed its doors in 1954. It had outlived its usefulness. Today, immigrants arrive by sea and air, and most are processed in their country of origin. But Ellis Island is a powerful memory for our immigrant ancestors, and their struggle has helped shape our American character and values.